Hi, everyone. My name is Carissa Brewster. I'm the writer for Whitman Partners, and we are conducting our series of 40 Fast and Future Leaders of Surgical Services interviews. Today we have Lila Price. Welcome, Lila.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome. And can you share with us your current position and where are you working at currently?
Currently, I'm an interim for sterile processing departments, and right now I'm in Austin, Texas. This is probably my 12th interim assignment in a while, so this has been very busy past couple years in the interim market.
Mhm.
This is very exciting work, and sterile processing is continuing to evolve, and so it's nice that people recognize us being part of surgical services. We are what keeps those ORs moving and the instruments.
Mhm.
So thank
Yeah,
you.
totally.
I would say coming from kind of in this post-pandemic world of trying to have the right amount of staff, dealing with people who have decided to transition out of the sterile processing departments, and trying to find and guide this new group of green, so to speak, technicians into a process that they may be a little unfamiliar with. So that's been it's a challenge everywhere. Every department I go into lately has had those same challenges of new staff coming in and not enough of experienced preceptors and trainers to kind of guide the process, especially those experienced tenured people that you really depend on, and having a good amount of shortage of that going on in the industry right now. So trying to be more of a voice and an advocate to keep those in the field, vested in the field and wanting to give back and to help the next group of technicians grow and prosper. Well, I think currently right now offering some type of certification program, keeping those conversations going, and imposing upon people that this is really a career choice. It should be something that you truly are passionate about, but also knowing that those certifications will help guide your career path along the way. And if you are interested in management and leadership roles, they're available, and the opportunity to grow in the field is quite strong. It's better than I think it has been in years, but also knowing that you have to put the work in. If you've been a technician for 6 months, the opportunity to be a leader may not be around the corner, but the opportunities for you to grow within the department and get that knowledge, seek those people out that can help you grow in your career. So I think that we'll see a lot more advances, people getting more certifications and expanding upon their basic skill set and growing. I do not know exactly what it is, but I think it's my ability to assess situations. I can critically think very well. I kind of tell people, but like my ability to critically think is what keeps me employed and moving on through these circles of different leaderships and roles across the country. But that is a skill set that it takes time. You have to be in situations and grow and learn, depend and lean on those leaders who have done these things before to help guide you in the decision-making process. But critically thinking is definitely, I'm quick on my feet. When I go quiet, that's usually just me thinking through the process, making sure that we're making the right decisions, researching what I need to do to make, using all the resources at my disposal, and making an informed decision about what the next step is so that we can do the right thing the first time. We only usually get one shot to get it right in our field. So that's usually what I would say kind of my superpower is in that sense. Yeah, so there's a lot of good things coming down the line. Let's see. There's some talk about borescopes that have AI intelligence, so they're able to go through lumens and channels, instruments, and kind of detect what type of bioburden there is. So that's going to be a huge game changer for just identifying what type of soil we may see that's residue and left over on these complex medical devices that we're reprocessing. Also, the equipment is getting better and better, and just the fact that you can have washer racks that are programmed to just do certain types of jobs, and you don't have to have a person physically pushing a button to say, "Oh, I need this cycle versus that cycle." If the rack is loaded up in there, they have these magnetic things on them that can just do the software and make it work. And I've also seen, and I haven't seen it personally, but I know of there's some type of there's a device that will actually put together a tray. So they will string instruments, and you can place the instrument down and it will put it in order and put it on a stringer. And I'm like, oh, wow, how cool would that be for someone who is still new and, going into the field to kind of have a guided robotic type of form of someone who can train and do things. So there's so much going on in the industry and changes all the time, but I'm excited for the AI aspect. I think it's going to really be what kind of helps us stay in line with what's going on, because the OR is constantly changing. And I feel like sometimes the sterile processing departments are the last to get those updates and changes in the industry with equipment and things of that nature. So staying in the forefront of that, I think will be great for any of those leaders in sterile processing to make sure that their departments are running at optimal levels. To kind of piggyback off of my future earlier responses would be about the staffing that we're going through now, and also education, and it really driving home how important it is for our departments to have certified technicians in the roles, so that you understand the theory of why we do what we do, and then you can have those conversations with your other leaders and other services about the importance of getting instruments that have been point of use treated correctly, and that how that slows down our process and decontamination, and just overall with turnovers and things of the nature, that things that really drive those reports. Having cases turned over, rooms turned over, have to depend on how quickly we can get the instruments back up to you, and how that is returned to us is quicker in the process of that. So I think those are the conversations that I would like to have, bridging those gaps between the OR and sterile processing, and understanding how important we both need each other very well, and how to have those conversations appropriately so that we all feel like we're part of one team. And I think that's really strong message that we can send. So I would love to be on a panel discussion with leaders in all surgical services areas, and talk about how we can all help each other grow. Yeah, there would be great opportunities with just cost saving, how we can, reprocess things appropriately the first time, having better and newer equipment. There's so many different type of eco-friendly type of equipment washers and cart washers and things out there that would help overall with just some of the disposable things that we use constantly. For any of the SPD departments that go through the process of picking cases and using disposables, keeping a monitor of what we're utilizing, paying attention to those preference cards for those doctors when they change, so that we're not putting unnecessary things on cases, and therefore not opening things in waste. I see that a lot. There's often a lot of disposable items that are just open because it was on the cart, and then, but that doctor never uses it. Surgeon never uses it. So having those conversations and understanding what is used, we can kind of minimize a lot of the waste of time and energy in a lot of cases. I mean, I've opened up instrument sets with over 100 instruments inside of them, and typically on a routine basis, they may come back with using about 8. So here we are with the same constant combat of, over-processing instrumentation, or over-processing items. And just those are little cost-saving issues alone. And just with disposables, I think that if we have a good relationship with our materials management, our supply chain team, we can kind of identify some of the things that we see routinely and how to be cost-effective. I think that we're all aware of going green, and that does not limit in any way, shape, or form sterile processing in healthcare. We should always be trying to figure out how to save and be more cost effective overall. I would say, let's see, it's usually not the administrators, because by the time I get there, they've already recognized the needs. So as an interim, they've already recognized that they need additional resources and help. So they're usually not the ones. I find it to be the seasoned, tenured employees, right? We've always done it this way group. They don't want to change. And I think it's more or less because at some point the culture shifted and changed. And so I always go in with an open mind and heart, thinking, okay, in some way, shape, or form, this group has been hurt. Maybe leadership has let them down in some way, something has happened. And I need to figure out how to help them first heal through that process and get them to a better working process overall, because there is just best practices, and I'm here to help enforce those needs and changes. But getting them to be on my side and win them over, that's kind of crucial in the first couple of weeks, so they have to be able to trust you. They have to want to be able to believe what you're there for, and that you have their best interest at heart. And that's typically what I do initially in my first couple of weeks and it's just really getting a feel for the beat and how everything is running, and then start questioning things. I'm one of those people like, okay, why are we doing it this way? Or what is the process? How do we get here? And so I can understand a little bit more historically what's going on, so that I can kind of guide them into what we should be doing based on today's standards. Because usually it's always something that someone said this 15 years ago and we're still doing it, and the standards have changed dramatically in years. So, and those are usually the hardest people to get to me, the ones that I'm working with directly. The administrators, they're all on board for it. Surgeons are usually always good for any type of change that benefit them. So if I can express to them that, hey, we can get this turned over for you quickly, or we can start reducing bioburden, they're usually like, oh, whatever I got to do to help, have better outcomes for my patients. Great. So we want to make sure that, but it's usually the staff, I would say, those director reports that have been there for the longest time, and they're already a little skeptical of what's going on and what this new change means in leadership. But I just want to always give them that feedback to know that I'm here to support you, to help change and guide those conversations in their favor, and be an advocate for sterile processing. I always tell everyone, I started off as a technician, so I know what it feels like to be in your position, and I'm here to help guide it to a better working environment so that you want to be here just as much as I want to be here.
Awesome. Lila, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a wonderful conversation, and thank you just for doing this. I think Women Partners has a great way to champion people into the successful roles and talk about them. And I know that you continuously spotlight sterile processing departments, but this is an honor to be chosen amongst the Women Partner people, the associates out there that are working for you. So thank you for choosing me.